Do you want to know a simple way to build a raised bed garden? In this video, I will show you how to build a very easy cinder block garden that anyone can do. Hi, this is Jeremy Starke, the Green Thumb Gardener, here to give you some tips, tutorials, and reviews for all your gardening needs. Please subscribe to our channel if you want to see future videos much like this. Also, please give us a green thumbs up if you do like this and you find this video helpful for you. So let's now that we get that out of the way, let's get started and get into how to build an actual cinder block garden. So one of the things that you want to be mindful of when you're building a cinder block garden is first, where you want to actually place your garden. You basically want to find a spot that's going to be sunny, that's going to have plenty of sun if you want to grow vegetables like peppers, tomatoes, squash, and things like that. If you're not too concerned about growing any of those kind of vegetables, you can also find a spot that is a little bit shadier. But most plants and vegetables will need sun for it, so you want to consider that when you're planning out your spot. So what I did for my particular spot is I did find an area in the yard that was very sunny. It did get plenty of sun. It got at least 6 hours of sun on in that particular spot, and you want to make sure that you're looking at it not in December if you're going to be planting in the summer, because obviously the sun has a different position in the sky. You want to be mindful of that and try to look for it. You might need to actually wait a year to see it. They have some tools that you can get. I'll put some in the notes section description if you do want any tools that you can do for it. But basically you just want to find a spot that's sunny, and if you've been on your property for some time, you'll know where that is. The actual cinder block garden, just to kind of give you some pros and cons of it, is it was very easy to do. Basically, other than lifting the actual concrete blocks up and into my car and into my house, that was probably the hardest part. It was very easy just to place everything down once I had my spot that I wanted. I did my measurements and things like that to get it situated. I found that I didn't need to put anything that was permanent. My particular lay of my land actually slopes down in this particular part of the garden, so I found it very difficult to build a easy wooden raised bed for it, because you'd have to have a couple tiers and you have to measure the slope and things like that. So I kind of wanted something that was easy, secure, and I could grow with it, so I could add more to it very easily. So I came upon the cinder block garden here. I'll take you around and we'll show you what it looks like and what you need to do. It's very simple to get the measurements and how to know how many cinder blocks you'll actually need for it. So as you can see, these cinder blocks approximately 16 inches in length. Once you get your measurements for your actual garden, you want to make sure that you calculate out the actual lengths, the amount of cinder blocks that you need. I actually added 1 or 2 more when I did my measurements, just to make sure I had enough on there. You can always return it if you need to. And the other materials that you'll need is if you do have some additional dirt or soil or anything, I'll show you a neat little thing that I do on the edges of my cinder blocks here on some of them. So once you get the layout of the actual garden itself, you want to put down the cinder blocks and arrange them. Now once you get all the measurements for your actual spot, you can go ahead and place the cinder blocks and where you want to do it. Now one tip before you actually do that is what I like to do sometimes when I'm trying to lay out some areas in your yard where you want to put something, you kind of visually want to see where everything is you can take your hose and actually use that as kind of a little guide, because usually you have most people have 25 to 50 feet hose, or you can take some kind of rope and just kind of put it around. You can stake it if you really want to get that fancy and just to see how it is. But as long as you know the general area that you want to do, you can do it. Now for my garden, what I did was I actually started digging the spots where I wanted to have the garden. So I kind of edged it out a little bit, not too much, but enough to know where I want to place everything once I had all the cinder blocks. The hardest part now is you got to go get them at the store and you got to bring them all down to your garden, so obviously get some help from some of your friends, or use a wheelbarrow, or just use your muscles, or your green thumb or something like that. But once you get them down, you want to put them in place. Put them all around the garden, kind of move things around. Basically put your soil up against it when you want to. If you want to put some additional soil or amendments or compost, manure, anything to get the garden started in there, you can put it on once you get everything in place. One of the other things that you do want to consider is the drainage of it. Now on my particular plot itself, the garden itself, it does slope down, so there is a corner of the there's an actual corner of it where the water does run off. So I had to make sure that I basically took a corner, and I'll show you what that looks like on there. As you can see in the corner section of my garden here, I basically just kind of left a little gap in between it. And if you can get in there and see, there's like a little gap, so the water does run off on there. Basically, it allows the water to go out instead of pooling up in this particular area. I also kept that in mind. I did plant some corn here because they do like a lot of water, so I wouldn't keep any vegetables that don't like too much water, like say peppers or something, because it'll be obviously the water does channel off in there, but it does drain fairly nicely, so I'm not too worried about it if I do have something on there. At this point, once you get everything situated, one of the benefits of doing this, what I really enjoyed about it, and I found that was really unique, is that I do have these little planters that I put in here that when you lay the concrete this way, you just can put some soil in there, which also is recommended to do because it does give it more stability, so that it doesn't, it's not going to wash away. These bricks are very, very heavy. But basically, I put some plants in here, and because I have some rabbits and stuff, I try to put some onions and just some other different herbs and things like that. But as I'm getting to that point, that is one of the cons of doing it with this. With wood, if you do a wooden garden, a wooden box, you don't have to worry too much about the heat. But when you do have the cinder block concrete part of it, it does tend to get hot in these cinder blocks. So I haven't had too much problem. I live in North Carolina, and it's fairly hot here. It's about 90. The only thing I have to make sure is I keep these watered, but they seem to do pretty well. I just put some herbs, some scallions, some Thai basil, some basil. I just put whatever I have, for herbs and things like that in here. But you just want to be aware of that it will dry out a little bit sooner because they do get warmer. The other thing you want to keep in mind too is that if you're placing some vegetables, you want to have it spaced enough away from the actual vegetables, because again, the roots of the vegetables, you don't want them getting too heated next to the brick. So that's really the only con that I can have for this, is that they do get a little bit warmer in the summer. To me, that's really not too bad. So really, there's many benefits to actually doing a garden like this. Like next year, I'm actually going to expand the garden out a little bit. I'm going to move it up a little bit. So it's very easy to do that. I would just simply move the bricks, and then I add my soil in. I may need to get a few more bricks from the store to actually compensate for the additional space that I'll have, but it's really simple for me to do that, to make it larger. Like I said, the only other con of this, I should say, is that it does tend to get warm, so you just have to make sure you place your vegetables away. So I actually, on mine, because this is the first year I actually did a cinder block, I didn't even think of that. So hopefully this will help you out when you do yours, is that I did place my cucumber plants a little bit too close to it, so I have to water them a little bit more than I normally would. It's not terribly wrong. I'm not going to lose my cucumbers, but it's just something that you have to be mindful of when you're actually doing it. So there you have it, an easy way to build a raised bed with using cinder blocks as your garden borders right here. I want to give you guys a green saving tip. One of the things that I did when I did calculate how many bricks I needed is that I ordered them online through Lowe's or Home Depot or whatever, and some of those stores like Lowe's and Home Depot, they actually have coupons where you can save like 20% off of that. And because the bricks, I think they run anywhere from between $1.50 to $2, somewhere around there for each brick. When you do need is a lot of them, you can save some money by doing that. So check it out. Go look on eBay, or you can do a Google search and you can find coupons. If I do find something, I'll link it up in the show notes as well. But I did that, and I saved 20% off of what I would pay for it. So hopefully that'll help you save some greens. So if you like this video, please subscribe below again to our show and give us a green thumbs up. And as always, we'll see you in the next video.